everybody, and welcome to Chat19, a
Haha.
podcasty style thingamajig featuring the players that you love from Nat19. I'm your host, Chase, also known as Coffin Jockey, and I am joined here by some lovely boys. How about you boys introduce yourself, starting with Erin?
Hi, I'm Aaron. It's debatable if I'm lovely, but I am real cute.
It's not debatable.
Not debatable at all.
It's not debatable, you liar.
I play Mariam Lucius. It's pretty neat.
Woo! Next up, we got Cody.
Hello, I am Cody Hewitt. I am also a player in Vestige. I play Nemric. Having a good time. I'm probably lovely.
Nice.
Very happy to be here on the first episode of Chat19.
Every episode is the first episode of Chat19. We verified this last time in the first episode of Chat19. Delightful. We have a heckin' bunch of questions that have been submitted by fans of the show, people that were watching it, people being cool. And then we also got a bunch of questions from some of your fellow players.
What?
So I'm going to go through some of these delightful questions, starting with the question for Nemric.
Oh.
Dear Nemric, out of your 7 previous deaths, which you will have to expound upon that for me later, I don't watch the show. Out of your 7 previous deaths, someone's got a lot of diamonds. Which one do you remember being the worst, the funniest, the sexiest?
So, recently enough, at least in our stuff, I have died. I had died whenever we were fighting some big boys. It was bad. It was bad time. Tribulation murdered me because of flowers. How dare he?
That's a lot of character.
Yeah. And whenever I died, we had to figure out how many times I had died before in my life. So Logan had me roll, and we rolled. It was like 6.
Oh.
So it was really hard to bring me back because I had died previous 6 times. And that just goes to kind of like, in my brain, I've just been sitting here like, man, if I lose like a stat each time I die,
Cool.
and I lost 2 in the latest one, I lost at least 8 stat points over my life as Nemric. That's funny.
Nemric could have fucking boxed Fierna at some point, apparently.
Potentially could have rivaled freaking Nicolo from the DMS games.
Imagine it was 2 every death.
Oh no. But basically, I would say the worst would definitely be the latest one. Tribulation coming in and literally zoning in on him and murdering the hell out of him with a critical hit, I think is the biggest one that he would consider the worst. Funniest was that time he tripped and nearly landed in the flames of Phlegethos. I guess that would be fun. It was during the Christmas party. It was really embarrassing, but he laughed it off.
After the death, of course.
Of course. So I was like, that was the first one. He was still new to it at that point. You're still riding that high coming back, you know.
Fair.
And the sexiest, it was got to be that time that he was infiltrating a kingdom where he was pretending to be one of the king's concubines.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is what I'm gonna say off the top of my head now.
I believe it. That sounds fully canon.
Write it down.
That sounds completely canon. I fully believe it. Heckin', next question I got is for Miriam.
Oh.
So, this one is a little specific, but you can feel free to broaden it generally. Dear Lord of Sweet Talkin' and all things beautiful Miriam, you've been spending an awful lot of time with that book, so I imagine it's very interesting. What other kinds of books does Miriam read besides cursed ones?
I mean, very recently he also read the entirety of Aviana's journal.
Which was very
consensually, I hope.
Yeah, they handed it to him.
Okay, good.
And outside of that, Miriam hasn't done a lot of reading in the campaign. Generally, if he is reading, it's like history books and things like that. He's a dweeb, especially for things lost to their current civilization, which is usually magic. So he oftentimes is looking for fun bits of knowledge and obscure arcana. Outside of that, not a lot.
Can you
That's
imagine, like, Avi handing that off to Miriam in the first page because Avi never planned on handing it off to anyone, was just talking about all the gruesome things she would do to anyone who got her book?
The first 4 pages are a threat to anyone who picked it up without
Yeah.
consent. Just like, all right, there's a lot of detail here. I'm gonna have to breeze over some of these. Also, I'm laughing at the idea that, like, other than the fact that Miriam's a bard and has incredible amounts of charisma, the idea of, like, hey, tell us a story at the campfire, and you're like, all right, in the 4th century CE, like, you don't have anything fictional. It's all incredibly real.
This is why we don't have him do that. Just play your music, man.
Play that funky music. As funky as possible if you can.
Bard boy.
I have an additional question for Miriam, possibly related to your choice in entertainment. Dear Miriam, how you handling all that trauma? You okay, buddy?
Man.
That's a no.
What trauma?
He's doing okay. But he just wants his homie back. And everyone needs to stop dying.
I have a follow-up question for the homie back answer, which is, Dear Miriam, with Quinn currently being absent from the party, does Miriam have an opening in his best friend slot? Which of the remaining party members would fill it? He and Avi seem to be getting along pretty well, also Nemric. That's not in the question, but Nemric. Best friend Nemric. Nemric's your best friend,
Absolute
Nemric?
best friends. We're the bestest of all friends.
No. And, yeah, no. If, somehow Quinn explodes and Miriam isn't also dragged to tell, what with that being the thing that's going to happen, then eventually, that's by rote kind of what happens, and be like, Avi likes your Fenris. He spends a lot of time just talking with them, and they're mean to him when he needs them to be.
I can't believe you, Kitty. Moving on without me.
Shut up, you're in hell.
Next question I have is somewhat for Nemric, but mostly for Cody.
Oh.
Dear Cody, and to a lesser extent Nemric, exactly how much are you salivating over the juicy drama that will arise when Nemric inevitably has to choose a side between Fierna and the highest standard? Are you gonna make it hurt? Of course you will, you monster.
I cannot wait until certain things come to pass, is all I can say on that subject.
That is equal parts interesting and terrifying.
Well, it's been real, y'all. Fireball.
I just a bit of a previous thought that I'd had is, like, I'm very happy to be put in a position where I can play someone who is a different allegiance, a different entire alignment from the rest of the party, and being able to be as non-disruptive as possible for it. But man, is the ending of it potentially disruptive? Who knows? Maybe I'll really like the highest standard. Maybe that works out.
Like, just fucking as soon as the betrayal has to start, just be like, so, it's a little late in the game, but I want to pitch switching sides for all of you to the side of Fierna.
I mean, here's the thing. Whenever we first made the character, I was sitting there like, man, I really kind of hope that that he gets really attached to the party so that he wants to figure something else out when the time comes. Because of how things have gone throughout the game, I definitely feel like he has a big attachment to the people that he's with right now. So who knows how things are gonna go. I think a few people know, but we'll see how things go.
Listen, all of you are gonna get beaten up by Fierna, and then you're gonna get sent to hell, but I can get a transfer there. So like we can all hang out there after you're
Yeah.
all in hell. It'll
know?
be great.
We can all like chill out. I'm telling you now. We could do. Anybody wants to have a little bit of a descent into Avernus?
Got him. Also, they have Xbox there, like the real world Xbox. Fiona figured it out. It's crazy.
Hey everyone, there's Xbox down here. I can confirm.
I have two more questions, both somewhat short and both somewhat related to each other for Nemric, which is, Dear Nemric, how did you learn to cook? And also, what is your favorite food?
I would say when it comes to Nemric, he's a spy. He's a spy for Lady Fiona. He was supposed to keep himself around like important targets and things of that nature, like watch them all. So he picked up a lot of just like little things throughout his journeys, and eventually one of them stuck with him, and that was cooking. I ended up just kind of randomly deciding. But when it comes to Nemric, he would see that an easy way to get to people is to cook good food for them. Obviously, in a place where magic exists, people will be able to easily tell if things are poisoned or not. And he never had to poison anything, so he's just like, hey, I make good food, and you like good food. You trust that I don't poison things. We can get through here. So I'd say that he kind of got it because he felt that it was an easy way to really get close to people. Other than that, his favorite food, I want to think of something like super fancy, like I just off the cuff, crepes. like he would be all about like dressing
French
up like a
onion
good
soup.
He'd be all about like dressing up a good crepe, more for aesthetics than even eating, but then he'd eat it and be like, oh.
In hell, do they call them creepies?
Yes, obviously.
Good.
They're called creepies. Whenever he brought the idea back to hell, turned out to be one of Lady Fiona's favorites as well. So
Nice. There you go.
I'm just going to say it's obviously canon because I said it.
That sounds right. And no one's here to correct us. Next question I have is for both of yous.
Oh.
Dear both of yous, what's the biggest shift in mindset / habits since entering Honokuni?
You want to start out?
Oh man.
It's never good when Aaron starts with man.
I mean, Honokuni's not been good for Miriam. Like, he's kind of back on his feet as of late, but like a lot of the players didn't really get to deal with it because it was quick and it wasn't dwelled on. So it's only even been talked about by players briefly. But Miriam nearly followed and killed an old lady.
Yeah.
Because they might pose a danger to the party. And I think they did, because that was the first time Baroth found us. And Baroth is, as many aptly put it, the worst. And there was a whole thing about if you piss the young lord off, then he'll just tell the members of the table where to find you, and then they'll all just come get you. And so everyone had chalked it up to just the young lord having told Baroth to go get us. But we literally just left there. Like, he definitely didn't hate us yet. So it was like, did he, or was he tipped off because Miriam didn't murk this old lady?
It would have been super interesting to know, like if we could have figured that out, like in certainty, just to see like what would have happened if you would have murdered an old lady that night.
That was like dark, because I said out loud, I'm like, if she steps outside of that house after going inside, I will wait an hour. If they come out, I will kill them. They didn't for that hour, so he left. He left little warning weapon and went back.
Up until the Bastille, like Miriam was having some very dark things, and like even after a little bit from the Bastille, obviously, but like I loved how everything kind of culminated with him hearing his inner thoughts in the Bastille and just like going, man. I'm super depressy. And it was super powerful just coming from you.
I mean, like, also, gotta say, any person that presents as, like, frail and harmless in a place like Honokuni is sus. Like,
Exactly.
just auto sus. I have concerns.
Well, even
How
then,
did you
like,
make it?
the entire, because he talked to them, like he followed them invisibly, and then he appeared at one point and was like, "Hey, like, where are you going?" And they're like, "Home." He's like, "Cool, I'll walk you. It's dangerous around here." And they were terrified of Miriam.
Is that perhaps because they were attempting to betray the party of which
Maybe.
Miriam was a part?
Possibly, or it's because the hunted are just scary in general to people, let alone Miriam, who is a fiendish-looking figure to people who probably haven't seen many of them at all outside of like members of the table. So he just looks like a weird symbol of something that can kill them at will.
Heckin' fair.
It's very hard to figure out like who's on our side, who's not on our side, and I always like, especially when it came to that lady, like I always like kind of wish that I was more like that Nimric was more interested in those kind of things. His entire thing is I gotta watch Miriam, so it's also very hard for me to figure out like anything. The reason I wanted Aaron to talk first is because I have only really played Nimric in Honokuni. So
Yeah, I had a ton of time outside of it,
yeah, I had like 2 or 3 games outside of Honokuni, so it's very hard to answer the question of like what's the different shift in mindset and stuff like that. If I want to talk about in character, recently he's been kind of acting very anti-killing people, which is very interesting for an evil guy from hell. Anytime like someone has mentioned like their last resort is leaving by dying and shit like that, he's usually like very much either against it or very sympathetic toward them, which is very, again, weird for an evil guy from hell. So like whenever we ran up on that monk who gave us the like where the scroll would have been that's going to be able to help everybody out and stuff like that, and like his entire like sacrifice was to watch over this really powerful relic that can actually get people out of Honokuni. Like whenever we sent him off, Nimric was very much like, thank you, blah blah blah, stuff like that, and like gave him like tried to make things like as symbolic as possible. Whenever recently the leader of the butterflies was like off and like buried themselves and like sent themselves out of this world like through death and stuff like that, he wanted to make sure before they left to go back into the back and put some flowers on all the graves and everything like that. Like he's really like on this whole like, hey, if there's anything else we can do other than self-sacrifice, that'd be great. Which again is very weird. I never thought I would play a character as kind of complicated as Nimric. But I wonder how that would have changed if I would have had like a bit of time before Honokuni to like actually develop him without like the Honokuni stuff, you know? I feel like it's a lot to do with how the world is.
How cool would it be to have like a one-off session where you play Nemric and everybody else plays a character, like an extra allied with Fierna, and you get to go on a fucking mission? That'd be fucking cool.
I'd the incinerator version of Vestige, just like all these other Fierna guys, and he's just like
incinerator Nemric edition.
I miss the highest standard. We're just killing guys.
Speaking of loving the highest standard, dear Nemric, how do you feel about the rest of the party bad-mouthing your god boss mom? How do you feel about the rest of the squad dissing your god boss mom? Do you feel like betraying her yet? Your bag-stabbing hand tingling or what?
No, the complete opposite. He doesn't like it when they badmouth his god boss mom. Going on that, like I don't know how like a bunch of the things go. I just kind of say things every now and then and hope that they're the truth. So like at one point, like whenever we were talking about like the race that he is, which is the fairy, I have mentioned in there that, oh yeah, all of the Fairy, we swear ourselves to Lady Fierna. She's basically the one who we all are we exist because of them. So like I said that because like I was kind of working on context clues on like what was in the Fairy book, what we've said about Fierna, what another Fairy had kind of been about and stuff like that, and like I guess that's the truth. I don't know. But he doesn't like it. He wishes, he's like, no guys, come on, like Lady Fierna's great, and they're like, no. It's like, no, come on guys, like she could have just killed all of you, which is true. I'm just saying, it's true. She's being very fair in Nimric's eyes. So who knows, man. I feel that my god boss mom is getting a bad rap.
Totally fair. Similar energy question, just kind of a follow-up. Dear Nemric, before it was pretty easy to say you'd betray the party for your boss. Now that you've been brought back from the ashes using a massive failsafe on Miriam's part, how are you feeling about those traitor thoughts?
Okay, thanks, Miriam. No, I'm playing.
Let me sharpen my dagger for later, for unrelated reasons.
It's never really his. I mean, if we talk in character, it's never his actual job to betray the party. He's just here to make sure Miriam doesn't die. So like
Fair.
when it comes down to things, it's kind of that. He's watching over Miriam. Miriam is watching over him, which he found very weird. He wrote in it in his little book beforehand, but like, you know, his book got destroyed when he died. But like a lot of the members, that's one of the big things that actually like has changed what Nemric's all about, was whenever he had tried to get this scroll from the inside of the Bastille, that he's like, oh, this is something that Lady Fierna would want, and he tried to basically like force it to get out, and then Miriam's like, hey, you know, we could have helped you, like we were gonna help you. And like that was like a big thing for him, because he's like, it was like his biggest mess up was like that at the time. So he was like, maybe I should have trusted them more. But like his entire thing is, I'm not supposed to trust you, I'm supposed to watch you. But now he's getting more into the trusting thing, because you know he brought him back from the dead. So that was pretty cool of him. So I Nimric doesn't think he ever has to betray the party. I don't know. Like outside of everything, they just said, let everything will be fine.
This is something you touched on, but just because it was also in the questions. Dear Nemi Rem, aka Nemric and the Nem Morty, how does Nemric feel about how does Nemric I'm gonna get there. English will work one day. Does Nemric feel like he owes a debt for his resurrection, or at least does he respect the group enough to be more comfortable to not only just look after Miriam, but the entire group as well?
I don't think it's a debt. He's died so many times, he might as well get a free Sunday.
Fair.
Like, I don't think it's a debt thing. Like, he definitely is very happy to not have to stay in Honokuni for all of eternity. That's great. He is decently sure that by the rules of this place, he might not have been gone forever. But at the same time, he is very surprised and very happy that they were going to spend the resources that they did to bring him back. He is very much not indebted to the party, not indebted to Miriam, but he does see them in a new light afterwards. Like it's very much I can trust them. Like, at least while we're here in Honokuni, I can 1000% trust that they won't try to ditch me or kill me.
It would be hard for them to do that, yeah.
One of the best moments, I think, is in the beginning, whenever we during the whole murdering that old lady thing. While he was off trying to murder a lady, Nimric was talking to Fenris, basically trying to bargain with Fenris, like, hey, I have these things, and if you make sure that I don't, that you guys bring me back if I die, like, I'll use these things to help you. And he did the same thing with Tagachi. He's like, Tagachi, none of them like me. None of them are gonna want me to get out of here. You're my only hope for actually leaving this place. And both times he was met with, no, nobody here is gonna fucking leave you, you asshole. Come on. So it's very much a different kind of. He's no longer suspicious that the party is constantly trying to either murder or ditch him. So he's very happy about that.
I mean, that's a nice feeling to have that kind of security. As,
dude.
you know, just you're not on the ditch/murder list. That's great.
Yeah.
The ditch/murder list for Avi's very long as well, so that's honestly a little impressive.
There's a part of him that really does kind of sit there and go like, Avi kind of likes me. There's another part of him that just goes like, as soon as we're at a Honokuni, she's gonna try to kill me.
She's really good at it too. You'll have to watch out when she really starts working that elbow grease into that situation.
It's also he hasn't gone into his elf form in a long ass time. As a fairy, he can go into like he can pretend to be just like a regular elf. He hasn't done that in such a fucking long time because he feels comfortable around his group. Like, oh, if somebody fucking comes at me for being a fucking weird devil gargoyle, you guys will protect me. It's fine.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it's Honokuni. There's characters everywhere from the look of it.
Yeah.
Oh. Next questions I have are somewhat similar in energy, but are both for Miriam. Dear the Lucius boy, Gelfus lore-bombed really hard. What are your thoughts on all the insane cosmic and temporal knowledge that has been dropped? Is there anything you wish you'd gotten to ask but didn't think to at the time? And also, with all that the party learned from Gelfus about the world of Somnus Domina, what stuck out to you the most? It said to each of you, but it's directly referenced. There's two Miriams now. So both Miriams, what stuck out to each Miriam the most?
There's a million things Miriam wanted to ask. I mean, I, the player, was literally scrambling looking for my book because I was like trying to find stuff from older sessions where I was like, I know who this motherfucker is, and I can't remember. It was driving me nuts. But I can't think of any one thing that I definitely wish I could have asked but didn't get to. Miriam was just full on with like, Miriam's about ancient arcane history, and this guy is ancient arcane history. He is effectively, if you put like a dude in like the late 80s, like mid 90s in front of Tom Cruise, he was very excited. And as for what stuck out to us the most,
yeah, to both of you, to both Miriams.
To both Miriams.
To Miriam and Miriam.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as it's not exactly gonna twist anyone's nipples here, but it's just that Fenris might be a little more connected to the Pale Lady than they thought.
What? How could that be?
Crazy.
I would like to interject something right here about Gelfus. I realize after having had the session happen, and at the time I was very much just like, yeah, I deserve that, and I got sent away, and it was
that
crazy.
Was so funny.
At the time, I was like, oh, I definitely deserve that. After having the session happen, I realized I got fucking teleported away for something Miriam said. Miriam was talking to him, said, I want to be a more sexy version of you. And it's like at that point, like Nemric like was trying to like explain like, oh no, the bald look doesn't just work now. It's like, oh, that's all I was like. He was explaining to Gelfus that, you know, it's not as sexy anymore, and that was my intent at least. And whenever it was just like, you know what, that's it, get out of here, like he sent him away. It's just like Nemric was just like, no, I'm trying to explain what Miriam was talking about. And like I didn't notice until after the session, because like whenever he sent me away, I'm like, yeah, I was being fucking super on him the like last little bit of everything, but like whenever I was just like, wait a minute, Miriam's the one that called him ugly.
To be fair, Miriam called him less sexy.
And it's just, oh, you know, the bald look doesn't work anymore. It's just like, and he said it twice. Nemric said it twice, trying to explain it, and that's why he got sent away, obviously. And Gelfus isn't, you know, he's not the most rational of people I think I've ever met, so it's fine.
That's fair. I was gonna ask, because you've answered those questions, but I have some questions about For instance, things like, who's Gelfus?
Gelfus is a big boy. Big,
yeah.
important boy.
He had some degree of a hand in shaping modern civilization. He remembers gods that no one else does. And he created a facsimile, at least, of a primal gemstone in a matter of seconds. So he's big, strong magic boy. He is our Mordenkainen +1.
It's
Mordenkainen +1.
It's
Damn.
so interesting too about the whole like him making that primal gemstone, because he immediately like erased his memory of doing it. Which is, you could think of like several different reasons why he would do that. One of which being he could think that now that he knows that, he would take a different path. So he wants to make sure whatever was supposed to happen happens. But secondly, he could be like, you know, hey, I want to make sure that I don't act on this any further. Another one is just like, hey, I just didn't like what you said, I'm gonna forget it. Like there's a lot of things that could have been why he did it, and the fact that he is such a crazy form of chaos in all of this is makes him unpredictable. I don't know why. One of those three reasons is definitely why, but either of them is as likely as the next.
Damn. So did y'all know why Mordenkainen +4, aka Fordenkainen, was in this place?
He just got brought in
He
here,
said
man.
he was with someone else, and they got dragged in, and he got dragged in with them, and he's just been here for a question mark amount of time.
He said he was doing some crazy magic, and then he showed up here.
Yeah, he's certainly like near ageless, and he don't much remember anything that we know. Like when we talk about towns, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But we've had a little bit of like pokes and things from Word of God. We know this dude's been alone for a really long time. But that
just him and his
also
puppy
doesn't
dragon.
mean he wasn't alone for a really long time before that either. He's very content to do his own thing.
He has a puppy dragon.
Ooh,
His dragon.
It's a dragon that barks, and it's just a puppy dog. It's just a dog.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
So with Gelfus being there for an indescribably long time, and from a time indescribably long ago, it seems, does that start to throw any question into the Honokuni time passage question?
Oh yeah, he even, I think, said as much, that he inferred pretty quickly that we are from his future. So he firmly believes we need to escape because we need to escape, so he figures out how to escape so he can escape. So
he firmly believes we should just get our stuff out. He doesn't care if we escape.
That was step one. But then once Fenris brought up that she saw him, or at least a version of him, destroying the primal gemstone when Raleigh was under his possession in her little time heist flashback, he gained that memory, realized at some point Ahim would do that, and then he was like, well, you can't break those, that's not allowed. So that's when he made the other one and destroyed his own memory. But he inferred that she needs to get herself and everything else out of Honokuni, because then he'll find a way out, so that can happen, so that there's only one now. And
time is
the
fun.
universe is balanced once again. So he's very confident that we will get out, and that he will find a way out as a result of it. Or he won't.
Or he won't. What's 7 more eternities for old Gelfus? I don't know what he sounds like. I assume it's this. That's my Gelfus impression. I hope you liked it. Next question we have is, let's see.
We just have so many.
Let's go with this one. This is a slightly longer one, but I think it'll be interesting. Dear Nimric, you just learned the people you're involved with have stuck their hands in some crazy shit that just might be above your pay grade. What are your thoughts on the party's past shenanigans, and has that information you've learned about them and their past made you contemplate anything in yours? And with all that higher powers that you've just learned are at play doing their things, has that caused you to view your lady in any different way?
No.
Just no to the whole thing?
It's actually very funny, and I love how you, Aaron, I love how you played Miriam to him saying it. At one point, like whenever we saw all these gods and stuff, Nimric showed the complete, just absolute no interest in it. Like he's just like, yeah, I don't really understand anything about your gods or know any of them or whatever. And it's just like, Miriam's just like, that's impressive. With who you work for and everything. I just like the only time he ever showed any interest was whenever Fenris was basically just like appalled with like, oh, but it's so interesting. He's like, well, you know, if you think it's interesting, I can learn it because he likes Fenris. Fenris is his osele. So he's very much gonna listen to anything Big Sister says. But other than that, whenever they were like looking at everything with interest and stuff like that, he was just kind of going with base knowledge, and that's what I was trying to go with. I was trying to make like have him, instead of seeing the gods for what they were, he was trying to see the patterns with everything, because that's kind of how I play. I like playing for like puzzles and stuff like that. So whenever it was mentioned that these gods were like in this weird numerical order, I had him be able to say, you know, like, hey, you know, if these three gods and those three gods and those three gods and those three gods all each have like one god after them, that's four things of four. And like I was able to like put that together and like kind of bring that up, and that was really fun. But the entire time, the only reason I was able to let myself do that was mostly because he doesn't care about who they are. He just is like, yeah, those are weird.
Neat math, huh?
Yeah, it's like it's just math and just pointing out inconsistencies because he doesn't have any prior knowledge of any of them.
Nemric not knowing about other like gods or the Eidolons is to like Miriam what I just learned about this recently. There's this guy in New Zealand who memorized the entire French Scrabble dictionary and went to France and won the national competition for Scrabble, and at no point after memorizing the entire French Scrabble dictionary did he learn French. He doesn't know it.
He's literally just like, he knows what he needs to know for any situation, and that's it. Like, he's just like, it's like, you're gonna go off to infiltrate this church. All right, I guess I'll learn the bare fucking minimum about church stuff or whatever. And it's like, oh, you're at a church of fucking you're at a church of I'm trying to think of just one, just because I keep on wanting to just like go right back into just, you know, Quintus and going for his, but instead of that, let's just say he's going to this random ass church. It's just like, oh, okay, learn about like base knowledge about their god. All right, I know about their god. After the mission's over, it's just like, hey, can you tell me about that god thing you were doing? I did what now? Like in one ear out the other. Like when he's done with it, it's gone.
That's fair. I honestly more had it like that's completely fair. Just like he just forgets everything that he learns when it's
not important to him anymore. It's just like, huh?
Yeah. I had thought you were.
He could probably like bring it back. You know, he could probably like bring it back if he ever needed to do something else. But like, it's just like, what now?
I thought you were about to expound upon an incredibly profoundly deep form of fucking child brainwashing from an early age of Nemric's backstory of like, that sounds a lot like abuse to know no other options even existed. It's like, yeah, just the Erna. Who's out there? Nobody. I don't care. Like fucking others, whatever. Definitely. I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them. They're, you know, it's like, you know, I assume other people have houses, but I've never been to one of them. And it's like, what do you mean you've never been anywhere else?
The weirdest part about D&D is that it's very hard to be agnostic. It's very hard to like not believe in gods in D&D. So like he knows about them. He knows like what they're there. But like in his brain, he's like, yeah, but I can see this one whenever I want. And they made me into existence kind of. And you know, I've just, yeah, I don't care about the rest of it. This one actually rewards me like in person. Like
I mean, fair.
This one gave me a bow and a really sick sword and all yeah, that I'm chill with this one. I like this one.
Fair.
And technically, like, you know, they're not a god, but you know, in his eyes, it's like, yeah, they're a god. They're like they're my freaking they're my god boss mom, you know. Like,
man, you'd I know you're trying to describe things more, but it keeps lending itself really well into my fan theory of like a consistent level of childhood abuse in your character. That like your god boss mom is a straight up real deity, even though there's other real deities out there that you can prove with science are real.
Yeah, they're real.
Yeah, just like this
I
one's
can't
my
go
god.
I can't go to a church and see them though. I can't like walk into a church of freaking.
Hey, Amir, how you doing?
Yeah, I can't walk up to Amir and be like, "Hello, Amir. Can you tell me in person what you want me to do?" He's like, "No. Here's all these vague things of be a good person." Blah 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 blah.
So like, I get that, but also it's a little too late for a real god to show up and be like, "I'll bribe you." Like
Definitely. At this point, it's like there's no one. He's already died 7 times for this god.
I mean, I feel like, to be fair, based on the stories you made up, I mean, told it from memory, I don't know if all those deaths were in service to Fierna. I feel like
a couple of them were oofs, yeah. A couple of them were like, oof.
I heard a couple oofsy goofs in there.
At least one of them was just
Oofsy
Legion.
goofies. Yeah, it's like one of them was just like Legion being pissed one day, and he's just like, all right, I don't care if you die then either, fucker.
See if I cast Resurrection on you.
Well, it's like he's currently like one of the big things in his brain is like nobody dies in Honokuni. So he's like, I want to, every time he has a chance to like talk to somebody who has maybe some information about Legion, like because Legion disappeared in the beginning of us coming in here. He's like, you know, hey, have you seen any, you don't know anything about, okay, he might not have been resurrected yet. Okay, all right. Like he's just worried that Legion's gonna show up one day, try to kill Flux again. It's like, Legion, I'm working. I'm doing my job, and you're trying to fuck off. All right.
You're doing shenanigans over there, Legion. I'm a professional.
Nemric
is a consummate professional.
So like, in like 100 years, just this like, I don't know, gnome or half elf pops out of the ground with fiery eyes, and they're like, where is Flux?
I want them to come back as like this cute little fucking female gnome.
They just show up as like a fucking rabbit.
Yeah, plot twist for heckin' Izzy in the future.
Like, just this fucking cute-ass female gnome shows up, like, fucking grabs him, and just, like, it's, like says, like, they're Legion at him and tries to kill him.
Amazing.
It'd be funny.
I'm so here for it.
The voice doesn't change, of course.
Of course not.
Of course.
The physical form is merely a suggestion for the soul of Legion.
They're constantly using thaumaturgy to like make themselves like big, deeper, and you know everything.
Delightful. Next question I have was partially a Gelfus question. I wish I had included it earlier, but it's also for Kitty.
Meow.
Dear Meow Meow. Dear sweet Meow Meow. You just met what is essentially your end goal in terms of magical who's-a-what's-its. How has meeting Gelfus affected you? Has it put some things in perspective for you? Has it further motivated you in your shenanigans as you now have a set bar to reach? Or was he just a really cool guy who helped satiate your magical curiosity boner?
It was the last thing, unfortunately. Gelfus, as an actual person, Miriam has very little opinion on. He doesn't know him well enough. They only met for like a grand thing of maybe 30 minutes. But what he like represents to Miriam is much more just beyond an archmage, which is, you know, crazy. It's unthinkable in Somnus Domina, really, to attempt to get that far, because you swiftly murdered, or if not, at least, you know, collared and brought to heckin', why am I blanking on the fucking prison's name? Scholar and the Academy. There we go.
Yeah,
it's like, I know they're related. Yeah, you'd quickly be brought to the Academy. I find Miriam loves him, but it could have been anyone who's that good at magic, and he'd be like, yeah.
Dude, I'm so interested in the Academy now, because we know that person that like actually did do that stuff in the backstory for Fenris is at the Academy now. Yeah. So that's interesting. There's like a part of me.
Cookies.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like kind of completely in the thing of like, if the next big arc after Diane is like infiltrating Academy shit, I'm down. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Bring him infinite soup.
What's the
specifically
cutoff for
requested
spells?
cookies.
Oh,
What's the cutoff for
Um,
spells again?
I believe it's around 6th level. It
Yeah.
depends on the spell itself as well. Like flashier spells, if used in a context that scares like a nobleman, can get you in much more trouble easy. Like Call Lightning is a very showy spell that could probably get Miriam a Scholar much quicker than, say, Dimension Door.
Yeah.
Even though Dimension Door is much more powerful magic comparatively. I say
I'm
much more,
sitting
it's a
here
spell
like-
level up.
I'm sitting here like looking, like just thinking about all the stuff that Nimric can do. If Nimric is still around, it's just like, is he gonna be in danger? I don't think so. Like Wall of Fire, maybe. Like
No, 'cause you're not a full caster, right?
no.
Yeah, no. The most thing you have an evil artifact of a long, quote
Oh
unquote.
yeah,
dead
that
god.
is something that they would not like. The fact that I can Cone of Cold at will several times a day.
seems problematic.
It's
Also,
a little
like,
bad.
Cone of Cold and Wall of Fire are like very flashy, very obviously magical spells. Call Lightning, you could actually somewhat lie about of like, man, I had nothing to do with that.
Especially if
That
it's
was-
raining,
this is
because then
weird.
you just
Yeah.
take control of the storm. You don't even create a cloud. You're just like, no, that cloud is my cloud now.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
stuff up that wasn't me. That was a force of God. Which one? I don't know.
Man, I don't know gods.
I have no idea anything about your whatever.
But yeah, a lot of the context of the magic depends on, but eventually there's a threshold. Like even Vindy, the alter ego scandal, had to peace out because they used teleport to save a bunch of people's lives, and that's saving people's lives. But they're like, no magic bad.
Yeah.
And so they made up a story about that person running away, and Scandal got to just continue being Scarlet.
I'm not sure how because like it was made after it was made after like Vestige started. I'm not sure how the Academy would see something like a Petal Knight, since they're basically the same as a Warlock, like as far as spell slots and stuff are concerned, like how they get them and everything like that. So I'm not sure how they would think about stuff like that. I'll have to ask Logan later.
That is totally fair. Heckin', I always like the idea of the Academy and scholars and stuff like that being there to kind of police the setting for
Yeah.
why there's not like 20th level wizards just like walking around murking people.
It's super cool. It's it's a very cool thing that like I originally like the earliest I can remember like seeing something like that is like in Dragon Age, which I
Mhm.
always loved. And like I based a lot of my own like stories and my VTuber model and stuff like that off of. So like it's very cool. I love academies being kind of assholes, but also having reasons for it, kind of.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it gives you a very satisfying enemy to go beat up.
Yeah,
a
and it's
way.
like it's one of those like a personal thing too, because like they're not always shown as like completely evil in their intentions or anything like that, but like it's, you know, they have reasons sometimes, but that goes against you. It's like, no, I'm the one that it's happening to though, so fuck you. Very nice.
I'm about it. I like it. Heckin', next question that I have is for Namric.
Oh,
Dear Namric, Cody, anyone, please.
Oh,
Now
God.
that it will never come out in game, I need to know what was in the notebook. What was in the notebook?
Oh, just recipes, you know.
I believe it. That satisfies my curiosity. I'm done here.
I've told several players like what he wrote down about them in his notebook, and there's a new notebook now. It's a new one that he's starting up, so that's fun. It was mostly just at first it was like a log that he would give to like Fierna afterwards, like, you know, showing like, oh, this is what my thoughts were throughout everything. This is like kind of like what I was doing. So he would put in there like how he thought of the targets he was going for, which targets would go down. Like at one point he actually had written down 3 notches on there, because he's like he felt like 3 things had happened that he should not have let happen, and they were Lexi, Vogan, and Sunder. He's like, I'm supposed to be here to protect these guys, and these 3 went down, and I fucked. In particular, he's here for Miriam, obviously, but it's a lot more helpful whenever all of Miriam's friends are still alive as well, you see.
That's fair.
So he was very much like, these two were MIA, and Lexi died, and I let it happen, and I cannot do this shit. I need to be punished whenever I come home. And he then also put in the thing of where he failed to retrieve the scroll as well, and he's like, I deserve to be punished when I get home. So he's writing it down, and he would give the log to Fierna if it still existed. Eventually it turned into a diary, though. It turned into more of a how he felt about people, what was going through his mind. And the newest one is definitely just a diary. He is writing down like his thoughts of things, and he may not give it to Lady Fierna when he returns.
Okay, that's good.
If Lady Fierna is like, hey, give me your log, he might still give it to her, but he might just keep it to himself. He might be like, oh, this is just my thoughts and everything. My log got destroyed. But if she like persists, obviously he'd be like, oh, here you go.
You gotta stop supporting my fucking abused as a small child theory. You really gotta. With the whole, when I return, I gotta be punished for this. I gotta be punished.
This is my god boss mom, man. He loves Lady Fierna.
And why does he love Lady Fierna?
Cause Lady Fierna is my god boss.
Cause of trauma, Cody. Cause of trauma.
I don't think there was any trauma. Maybe, I mean, like he had to learn his abilities and stuff from somebody. So maybe there was like some rough training.
I swear to God, I thought
maybe that's where a couple
he had
of
to learn his place.
Maybe that's where a couple of his his deaths came in. Maybe he did have to be put in line a couple of times. But whatever.
What a safe and healthy environment to be raised as a child.
No, I think honestly, with everything, especially because the way that I kind of see his mission before this happening, he feels extremely connected to Lady Fierna, mostly for the bow that he was given, which is called Grudge Knock. It's such a fucking cool bow. My headcanon is that he just got back from a mission. He got the Grudge Knock from Lady Fierna, and he's like, ooh, this is great. Because his entire subclass is more about melee fighting, so I thought the bow would have been like a new thing that he would have gotten. So like him getting this and be like, ooh, this is super cool. Like she rewards him. She does great with him. He's like, yeah, fucking Team Fierna all the way. Let's go. Like,
yeah, fucking Pavlov and carrot and a stick and like, all those things. Those are just like fun little side story things too. And they're just goofy, silly little guys doing goofy, silly little things. They're not incredibly traumatic psychological things.
Unless Logan tells me otherwise, I don't think he has any real trauma.
Perhaps in the voice of Fierna.
Oh, here's the big thing. There might be some trauma just from the fact of how everyone else in hell is treated, but like that's not how he was treated. So for example, like whenever you go to hell, whenever you go to these areas, you like sometimes you come out as like a little fucking blob demon guy. And those are very much a nothing. Those are very much like bad. I don't want to be one of those guys. So like maybe through like osmosis, he saw what happens to people who go against Fierna or other people who aren't in his position, maybe. But I don't know, man. Don't worry about a certain thing that was posted.
I
don't know anything about that, man.
Anyway, thank you for coming to Therapy 19, where I help Cody relive his childhood trauma as character.
I don't even know, man. I love the idea that he's Stewie, and there's just a whip happen. I do not. Those out there. There was a GIF posted. It was Peter Griffin whipping Stewie. It's funny. Anyway.
Childhood trauma. Anyway, dear Miriam, what are your plans to defeat Sad Hot Samurai Man in order to complete your limited edition Divine Gucci set? Do you even have a plan? You need that knife, dude. It fits your ensemble. Also, power and whatever. Yeah.
Miriam, isn't it like the stuff Miriam has is really good, and I love it. It is absolutely 1,000,000 times better in someone like Lexi's hands.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. There is going to be a gun knife that they would be able to use as a weapon, and the cape that lets you, or rather the armor that lets you poof around as a reaction and make people not hit you and hit other people, and it makes you invisible.
Listen, just
Yeah, that
because it
sounds
would be
like a
better
Merriam
with
weapon.
somebody
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it is not great for you
Oh
too.
man,
Come on.
I've been like so many times. I'm like, I could just give it to Lexi. Like, but then Subaru will fucking kill Lexi. So I'm like, no, it stays on me. So plan, steal Jakku's boat, crash it into him, hope he dies. The end. I have absolutely no idea how we're gonna deal with him. It's probably gonna be via violence. I can only imagine, given how much we're ruining his country right now.
Mm-hmm.
But neither Aaron nor Merriam has, like, you know, L's theme isn't gonna come on. He's like, well, what we're gonna do? He's like, fucking, I don't know.
Chase, we have gone so far in Honokuni where we are basically down to what, 2 table members now? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like? And
I heard you know from questions that I had seen. What I've heard is that you know there are 2 left. One you know the identity of, and one that you don't.
When we have ideas,
a firm conviction.
Yeah,
of the other one.
We have ideas on what the other one is, and they're probably very correct ideas. But
Fair.
when it comes to it, like the one we do know, like Nimric has no idea how we're gonna fucking win this, and also we all kind of know we're going after freaking Sad Hot Samurai Man. So like I'm really hoping that us going and talking to this dragon is gonna give us some information, because right now Nema's just like, I have no idea what we're gonna do. I think
just
we're
hope the
boned.
dragon fixes
I think we're boned, lads. I'm just saying.
Superman rules. Here's some kryptonite. Go beat him up. Bye.
Gonna be nice to
I'm a
talk to the
dragon.
Gonna go to the dragon. I'm gonna take a level and weigh a blue metal sword stand.
Hell
Just
yeah.
to piss Keen off.
Oh, perfect. Let's go.
Haunted of Honokuni, what is your wish? It's like, you're not Shenron. You stop that. But yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a good time. Fucking go to that dragon. I'm sure the dragon will just come with you and beat him up.
Yeah,
Beat him up for you.
dude, we're going up against a freaking phoenix. I hope the dragon comes with us and fucking kills it.
Yeah, that's in line with D&D. The DM just kind of does everything
Yeah,
theater
just
of the
give us
mind,
a
and the
dragon.
players don't really do anything. Yeah,
Give me a dragon.
very D&D. Love it. Next question I have is for Cody.
Hi.
Dear Cody, having shifted from Quintus to Nemric and being the instinctual player that you are, do you ever find yourself having to take a sec to curb your inner Quintus and react like Nem instead?
Nope. They are so different, dude. One of my favorite things I've ever done was our first fight against Baroth. Having Nemric go out looking all confident, going in like a Quinn and just ready to go, and then just like, I'm here to fight you honorably, blah 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 blah, and then immediately casting banishment and running away. Like, that's my favorite thing I've ever done. Nemric is such a different beast than Quintus that it's so easy to do things otherwise. Like, it's interesting to think of how everything would change if Quinn was here instead of Nemric, just because I know that it would literally be night and day. Like, like pun kind of intended when it comes to Quinn. He would be so different. But yeah, there's no overlap at all. Like, there's zero overlap for anything.
Are you
from, like,
100% sure? Are you 100% sure that Nemric does not ever have to silence their inner Quintus, as we all have?
I'm a billion% sure. There is no inner Quintus in Nemric. Nemric has no inner Quintus.
It's because of the child abuse, isn't it? If
if
only
we're talking
Fierna.
about like traumatic childhoods, like Quinn grew up without a mom. Like, he grew up without a mom that he apparently was really close to, but like forgot everything about. Like, that's fucking That's crazy. And then like ended up thinking that he killed his dad. Like fucking, and the closest thing to him in the entire world is a horse and his friend. Like he's not even like, come on. Like if we're talking about like childhood issues, Quinn is the one that has all of them.
But like Quinn turned out fine. He's in hell.
Quinn turned out fine. He's just a fucking party man coming in.
He's playing Xbox.
He's fragging noobs on Halo. He's basically like, he just has to like come at his inner frat boy to play Halo, man. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. That's true. He's in there. So the real question is, when within Nemric will the inner Quintus reveal his inner frat boy and allow Nemric to frag noobs in Halo?
Nemric is not a frat boy either. Like honestly, I'd see him as one of the guys in college like who would look at the frat boys and be like, "Come on, we're here to learn."
Gross.
Come on, we're not here for your fucking. Ugh.
He's one of those guys who's like, come on, we're here to learn, and then he'd do a test and then probably forget everything he did on the test.
No. He'd be like, we're here to learn, and then be like a B student. Like he wouldn't even be very good at it. Like
be respectful of education.
He just
fails
hates,
every
like,
test.
He just hates people.
Passes the bar, gets a job as a lawyer, and then he's sitting there in the middle of a case like, all right, what is contract law? I forgot.
See, you're saying this, Aaron, but if he needs the information, it would stay there. He doesn't need to worry about any fucking gods or bullshit.
Up until someone's like, hey, well, I guess contract law uses the devil, so maybe that would stick around.
Thank you.
The thing I'm thinking of is just like also that Nemric fully embodies the spy role and like fully embodies the role he's being when he's a spy. And like just gets like sleeper agent style messages from Fierna, just like in the middle of a contract law presentation in front of a judge, just like, "Bleh, I have to become a cook now,"
know.
And he just leaves the courtroom.
I'm gonna be super like honest with you. I have no idea how it works. Like again, because I haven't played outside of Honokuni that much. I don't know how he is in contact with Lady Fierna. I'm not sure how like he does about anything. I know he has a contact, like just because of my spy background. I know that there is a contact that he uses to like figure things out at some points. But like I don't know if there's like a mental connection. I mean, she can probably force one because there's Fierna,
God boss mom. Yep.
But like I don't know, man. We'll have to see. It's very neat. He thinks it's incredibly neat that he got brought back by the ability that Fierna gave to Miriam, because it's like Lady Fierna saved him instead of Miriam.
Amazing what kind of gymnastics your mind can do if you've been abused as a child. You continue to support my theory. You continue to support my theory.
I think anything I say can support your theory. It's like, oh man, right. It's canonical that he's had like a freaking super cushy lifestyle. Yeah, because he was
because of the theory.
Super stern cushy lifestyle.
You're not wrong. Final question of the Chat19, first episode of Chat19 ever. Every episode's the first episode.
I'm surprised because you had mentioned a question earlier that never showed up yet.
The final question of Chat19. Dear Nemric, what makes you so attracted to him? You know him. The Chad in plaid, the frosty male and frosted male, the fear bringer at the dread time, yet favorite at bedtime, dad bod rockin', but you'd best not be knocking this paladin of the Crystal Queen herself, Taguchi, aka the Gooch.
The Gooch?
What makes you so attracted to the Gooch?
So I'm very happy because I was sitting here like you were like the last question. I'm like, oh, we haven't got to that question you were talking about. Oh, it's the last fucking one. All right.
Gotta save it.
My dog freaking got under my foot.
Understandable.
Man. So I've mentioned this several times, and this is something that I've always kind of had in my thing for any character I make. But I always play my characters in the beginning as bisexual. It's just something very easy for me to do because it's what I am, and it's very much a thing of I don't know what my character's like until it happens, right? I just play the characters, I move through them. I'm basically a becomer changeling from 3.5. And it's literally until they let me know what they're all about, I don't know what they're all about. Nemric very early on let me know that he is completely gay. He is 1,000% like he is into that kind of thing. And whenever Tagachi showed up, it was definitely a I want to say if this was a more comedic series, it was almost like a love at first sight kind of thing for him. He's like, look at this beautiful fucking man. And so mysterious, so strong, so reliable. So Nemric is very much into that part of Tagachi. Not only that, but Tagachi was the only person in the beginning. He's like, I need to get on his good side because everyone else here is gonna leave me in this fucking horrible place where I can't taste anything. Like he was convinced that whenever the hunted would leave this place, whenever those guys leave, they would not bring him with them. So he had to be like, Tagachi, you're my only fucking hope. You're the only one that can get me out of here. So it comes from just the fact of it's his preference. The fact that he had to get close to Tagachi in the beginning, at least he thought he did. And the fact that Tagachi's just a fucking pretty man. Like he really is. Big, broad paladin man. Yes, sir. Let's go.
So, you know, I don't even have to play into my fucking theory off of this. Tagachi is just that attractive. There's no underlying. There's nothing underlying from this. Tagachi is just that good.
There's no theory. It's just...
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I need not dig any deeper. It just makes sense.
It's very fun. Just as like a side note, it's very fun to play characters this way. Just because, again, I don't know where everybody is at until it happens. So Nemric is one of the first ones that really has gone on this side for me, and it's very fun to play this kind of a character because, again, it lets me come out more with like my own like preferences and my own thoughts like in real life and stuff like that. Like just having someone who represents this other side of myself is really fun.
Hell yeah, that's a good back in time. I like it. That's good. With that is the very last question.
It's a very comedic question though. So, cause that ass.
Yeah, whoa. Got him.
And thanks for tuning for the child abuse episode of Chat19.
Thank you for joining us on the therapy session and/or child abuse session, the very first one of Chat19.
Is this one this entire thing is?
Like, sounds like we're abusing children. You know?
Let's go!
Sounds nicer.
Let's go!
I have a bunch of these questions that were submitted by your fellow players. I will reveal their identities and their role in this episode. The first question submitted was, Dear Cody, and to a lesser extent Nemric, exactly how much are you salivating over the juicy drama that will arise when Nemric eventually has to choose a side between Fiona and the highest standard? Are you going to make it hurt? Of course it will, you monster. This question was submitted by Izzy, the Izboy, the Sizzler.
When it ended with you monster, I knew it had to be either Carrie or Izzy.
That's just the way they are. It's just the way they talk. It's who they are as people. They out
to a lesser extent, Spencer, but he would never put it in there because he's always trying to.
Spencer would never ask a question. He would never do it. He would never ever submit a question to the show. He would submit one. He's above that, or below it. One or the other.
We haven't figured it out yet.
It doesn't
fit in the theory yet.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get there. I'll find a way to describe Nemric's childhood trauma into Spencer not submitting a question. I'll find a way. I'll get there. Next question I have is, Dear Cody, having shifted from Quintus to Nemric and being the instinctual player that you are, do you ever find yourself having to take a sec to curb your inner Quinn and react like Nem instead? That question was submitted by Kerry.
Oh, I did not think that was. I did not think that was one of their things because they complimented me.
Mm-hmm. Right? Crazy.
Like being an instinctual player, you are. It's like, ooh.
Keep that in mind, Kerry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would never have thought it was any of them because they all hate me. So.
I mean, it could be a very, very well veiled insult.
Yeah, I have to think that way because of all my childhood trauma.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we got it back there. Next question we got is from Dear Miriam, with Quinn currently being absent from the party, does Miriam have an opening in his best friend slot? Which of the remaining party members would fill it? He and Avi get along pretty well, just saying. That question was submitted by Carrie as well.
What a nerd.
I know. I'm surprised. It would have immediately outed Carrie if Carrie had said something like he and Lexi get along well. Yeah. Yeah, like, Lexi best friend, huh?
I was ready for you to say it was Hayden, but then it's like, it's Carrie as well. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I get that. I have then 3 questions that were each submitted in rapid succession. Dear both Siyas, what's the biggest shift in mindset / habit since entering Honokuni? Dear Nemric, what's your favorite food? And Dear Nemric, how did you learn to cook? Were all submitted by internet famous Brad Brederson.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yep.
Yeah, very much.
Yep. How could Brad ever submit a food-based question? I don't know. So out of character.
Well, like the both of yous makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the both of yous was definitely something. But like when it comes to like the cooking stuff, it's like the only one who ever remembers that is Brett, because we both share, like, our characters share the love for cooking.
It's totally fair. And
she wanted me to say stew, but it isn't gonna happen.
Nope.
He's too bougie for that. And he likes stew, but like, it can't be his favorite. He needs to have something flashy.
Far too bougie for stew. Stoogie, if you will.
Stoogie.
Yes, has to be very nice too. The final question was, Dear Miriam, with all that the party has learned from Gelfus about the world of Somnus Domina, what stuck out to each of you the most? I think that was initially supposed to be a both of you question, and maybe I changed it to a Miriam question. Yeah, that or Hayden is on to something that no one else in this call is aware of, that there's, Miriam Tucius over here.
Miriam does have another person, like, kind of, like, piloting a bit, right? Like,
I know who it is. It's Miriam's inner Quintus.
Oh.
We all have an inner Quintus.
Well, you see, if I have to answer, I'd say, Miriam, you did this to me. How dare you?
How could you? Feel guilt. Great amounts of guilt.
Great amounts of guilt, Miriam.
I can't believe you nearly killed that old lady, Miriam.
I can't believe you didn't kill that old lady, Miriam. How come you didn't finish her off? Get in there, Miriam.
Miriam, you should do copious amounts of drugs.
Oh, I look like Krusk.
Got him. Well, with this, the least lethal Nada game with the knowest stakes ever conceived. With the conclusion of this, we are on to the very end of the episode. So thank you if you've gotten this far. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I appreciate all of you. You're doing it. If you have questions for peeps in the next heckin' Chat19, you can heckin' submit them. You can submit them right here. You can submit them right below this video. There's a link to our Google form. You can submit it in there. And then also we got that on our heckin' Twitch page. You can go there and submit your burning questions. Next month is going to be Hayden and Spencer. They're going to be Hayden and Spencing it up. It'll be a great time. So go ahead and submit them questions there. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for submitting questions. You're all awesome.
Yeah.
Mwah.